Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Thank you for joining me today. I know it's been a really long time since I have done a video. I had total knee replacement surgery done late this summer, or late over the summer, and so was on medical leave for, you know, oh my gosh, I don't know, it seems forever. I'm still healing. But anyway, I'm finally back in the craft room. And I'm going to do a fun fold today. And this one, it's been called a couple different things. I'm calling it kind of like the twisted trifold, because it comes out, so you've got a portrait look, you know, when it's closed. And then when you open it, it becomes a landscape. So you want to make sure when you're laying out your design that you keep that in mind, that it's going to go from portrait to landscape with that. So that's also like when you're doing your pattern paper. And there was, I had watched a few tutorials, and some of them, like this is my original one. So this is actually two pieces of, I don't know if you can see that. It's not going to maybe focus in. It's basically two pieces of cardstock like layered on top of each other in that center part. And I didn't like that because the card got to be fairly thick and weighted, because I had done, you know, the stitching on here. And so with that, I wanted to cover up the back so you wouldn't see my stitching. So this is like 2 layers of cardstock. Plus I've got the pattern paper, and then I've got some textured. This is that Gathering Leaves embossing folder. That is an online exclusive. It's really pretty. It's a nice big one, so you can put like a half a sheet of cardstock in there. So anyway, so I was kind of playing around like, okay, I need to figure this out. So that is not so bulky, but like I said, this is my first one, and I'm using a lot of the Gathering Leaves, Gathering Moments. It was the whole suite that had the like designer series paper. It had the stamp set. It had some of there's the Gathering Moments, and then the coordinating dies, and these are like really big, so it's kind of cool. And then you can do your own little stitching on there if your heart desires. Plus it had some of the little twine and stuff. So anyway, so that was my first one that I did. So it's kind of, you know, like I said, it's a little bulky. And then I was kind of playing around. I had done one with the ribbon, but then I didn't like, you know, having to untie it and tie it again. So I only did one with that. But here's another one. So on this one, I didn't do the stitching. I just took a gel pen, and then I layered some gold paper actually behind there, so you can kind of see the gold showing through the little holes. So that's another way of doing that. And then I just kind of put another layer, and this is just the this is that 2-tone cardstock, so it's thinner than our normal cardstock, which is kind of nice. So on this one, again, it's going to be portrait when you first look at it. And then it goes to the landscape. And so this one, when I die cut my leaf, I then just used another white one to fill it in there. So that's kind of another way you can do that too. So there's that one. So again, I didn't really, I'm like, oh, the ribbon, why did I do that? But anyway, I was trying to use up my ribbon on it. So, but that one, I think this paper is so pretty on there. All right, and then what I did, so these are, I think the rest of these now are going to be where I figured out how to do making a little bit thinner. So I adjusted my measurements. So we're going to be doing kind of a version of this one today. So again, we're using that Gathering, oh my gosh, Gathering Together, designer series paper on that. And then we're also going to be using one of the newer, I think this comes out this week, or is it up? Yeah. So these are the new packaging. And so I just spent, while I was on medical leave, I wound up kind of cleaning out my area and reorganizing stuff, because I knew with the new stamp sets packaging that I was going to have to kind of redo how I was going to be doing things. So what I did, so this is actually, you get a die, and so it's a bundle, so, and they come in separate packages, but I wound up putting the dies and the stamp set together because they fit in this package, which is kind of nice. And then the only thing that I did, just because I wanted to, I wound up stamping onto this packaging. so that when I have my stamp set in here, if I know that I'm not missing any stamp sets. I know you can look here, but I don't know. When I'm looking, this is how I like things. I'm just a goofball. But anyway, so I did stamp on this back with it, so just so that I could see. So anyway, so that'll be the front. And then I wound up putting my dies. Of course, I put them on the magnet sheets, and I just get these off of Amazon. And then that way, I've got both my dies and my stamp set. They're together. So it is a lot thinner packaging, which is kind of nice. But then the other thing is like now how to store it. And so I've been kind of playing around, and again, I only have a few of these new ones. And so I had gotten these off of Amazon. They're just like a plastic clear bin. My problem is I have to put it in this way, and then I've got these tabs that I bought. So I haven't decided yet how I'm going to really organize these, but I may, like I said, I may just do themes where it's like all birthday or all, you know, thinking of you or nature or whatever. So I'm still kind of struggling with how I'm going to do it. But like I said, I only have a few of these, but it is nice, you know, that it is a lot thinner packaging. And then you can keep the dies and the stamp set together. So we will be using this outdoor adventure today. So anyway, so this is kind of like a version that we're doing today. And I just love that little fox. I think he's so cute. And then some other ones that I did just because I needed some birthday cards for some coworkers. I had done the Boho Vibes designer series paper, and then this is just a retired Stampin' Up cupcake from like eons ago. But I had gotten this little saying. It was pretty funny. I thought it was kind of cute. So on there, so there's that one. So yeah, so it's a fun. It's another great way of using up your designer series paper. And then it's a fairly easy fold. And then this one, because this is my coworker, she has a dog too. So got a little roller skating dog. Now this is not from Stampin' Up, but I thought it was so super cute. So there's this one. And then it comes out. So again, I'm just always kind of layering behind there just to give it a little bit of stability and stuff. So that's using some of their plaid paper, timeless plaid, I think it is. And then this one, I just finished making this. This was another one that I saw on another demonstrator do, Rachel, oh my God, I'm like drawing a blank. Anyway, but I struggled with it because I'm like, what? I don't understand. But this one, you're taking designer series paper as your card base, and then you're actually doing another trifold, like you're flipping this out. So it's actually just kind of like a little piece of cardstock, kind of a tab on there. So I need to tweak the directions a little bit, and then I'll do a tutorial on this version of it as well. But this is just another way of doing that twisted trifold, is another version of it. So we're going to get started. Like I said, we're going to do kind of something like this, a version. And what you're going to need, and I did a little template just to help. I thought it just made my life a little bit easier. Okay, so your pieces that you need, your card base you're going to need one that is 4 by 10 1/4, and I'm using Early Espresso, so just one of those. Then my second piece, which is going to become this right side, that piece is 4 by 5 1/2, and then we're going to score these, so those are both the same color. Then for your focal piece, this is what I'm calling the DSP focal. This is that square. That one is going to be oops, I thought I had I believe it's 3 5/8. Yeah, it's 3 5/8 squared, and then we're just going to cut this diagonally. I don't know where my little post-it note went to. I had it somewhere. Oh, here it is. There it is. Yep, 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. Then we're going to cut that diagonally. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and one is going to be, when I say the front, this is going to be the front of your card, so that's one side. And then the other side is your inside pattern. Okay, so that'll be like DSP, so A and B. So A is the front, B is the inside. So my front one, these are both going to be the exact same size. And these are 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And you can either do the same or do different patterns. Now, depending on what you want on the inside, this green and this one, but on my sample, I want this to be on my inside. So I'm going to flip this upside down so that the this then becomes, when we cut it diagonally, it's going to line up on that inside. So whatever you want on your inside, that's going to go face down, and then it's going to go underneath your top one, because we're going to cut these both at the same time. Okay, so, and then your last piece is just for the inside of your card, and this is just, I did double-sided. This is that basic beige. I just like this because it's not as thick as our cardstock, and so it helps with the weight of the card. This is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and again, that was that basic beige. All right, so we're going to get to some scoring. Let me get my paper trimmer and scoring. Yeah, after not stamping or doing anything for almost like 8 weeks, oh my gosh, I was like, how do I do this again? I was a little rusty. All right, so on our card base, that was the 4 by 10 1/4. We are just going to score this right in half at 5 1/2. Then you are going to just make a mark at 6 1/4. Just a mark. And then what we're going to do is we're then going to take where that tick mark is, we're going to score diagonally down to that lower left hand corner. So I had just done on my paper trimmer, I just took a Sharpie and just drew a straight line so that when I do this, I know there's my corner, it's lined up, and then my tick mark is lined up in that line as well. So then I'm just going to score this diagonally. Now this becomes the left side of your card. This will be the center. Then we're going to take that other smaller piece, which was 4 by 5 1/2, and on the long side we're going to score at 4 3/4. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to make a mark, because we need to have our, so this is going to be this piece here. So we need to make this diagonal. So to do that, I'm just going to measure over 1 1/2 and make a mark. And so this is my top. I'm just going to flip this around, and I'm just going to make a mark at 1 1/2. So now that's my bottom. Now I'm going to take this tick mark and I'm going to score diagonally to the upper right hand corner of the card. So tick mark and the point. Okay, so then that will get attached here. So this is going to be a valley fold, this first one, and then this will be a mountain fold. This will be a valley, and then this will be a mountain again. So we'll do our folding once I want to do my cutting on my paper. Okay, so now for our focal piece. So again, this is that center square, that's 3 5/8, and we want to make sure that we're cutting our paper this way. So we're going to go back into our paper trimmer, and we're just going to go point to point. So again, if you have a directional, so like this one, I've got these leaves, so I want to make sure that when I'm cutting this, my pattern, my leaves aren't like upside down or anything. So we're going to tilt it like this and go point to point. And what I like to do is start in the middle so that your paper cutter doesn't catch on those points. All right, so now that's been cut in half diagonally. All right, so now our designer series paper. So this is where I had to do like a little cheat sheet for myself on it. So again, these were both going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Now, when we're looking at the front, okay, this has to be, you've got to come down 5/8, and then again, you're going to cut down to that corner. So on this top one here, and again, I'm keeping both of my pieces together. We're just going to measure down 5/8, and I'm looking for my pencil. So I'm just going to go down here, and I'm just going to make a mark. So I just went down 5/8 of an inch. Now we're going to cut from here to here. And again, I've got my other piece because I want this on my inside so it's face down, and then my top one is stacked right on top of it. Hopefully this is going to work. All right, so pencil mark right down to that lower left hand corner. So again, you're going to put that pencil mark right into your cutting groove. Your point is going to be right in the cutting groove. And again, I want to kind of start in the middle and go up and then down so I don't catch on those points. Oh, I did do that wrong. Oh, Linda. I did do that wrong. We need to measure up a 5/8 from the bottom and the top. Oh, I knew I was going to mess that up. Okay. See, I'm so rusty. I had not done this in so long. All right, let's try this again. So we're going to 3 7/8. So I got to cut another sheet because I messed up. Always something. All right. Nobody's perfect. Okay, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm just going to do the back side. All right, let's try this again. Okay. I want that there. Okay, so we need to measure down 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so down on the upper right-hand corner, and then we want to go up 5/8 of an inch on that bottom. And again, you can use like an actual ruler. I'm just using my paper trimmer just since I have it out. Okay, so here's down a 5/8 of an inch and up 5/8 of an inch. Now, you're going to take that to this mark and cut diagonally. All right, here we go. So, pencil mark in the cut line, pencil mark in the cut line. We want to kind of start in the center, go up, kind of lift it, bring it down to the center, and go down. And then erase your pencil marks. Okay, so now you've got that piece, which will go here. And then the other one that was on the bottom then gets flipped around and goes here. Yay! Okay, I think that is all of the cutting. So now we just have to do all of our scoring. I believe. Yes. Okay. All right, so now let's assemble this. Get this out of the way. Yeah, with the knee surgery, oh gosh, I couldn't sit for a long time because it's just having like my leg down and the pressure. It was, oh man, it was brutal. I mean, I had back surgery a few years ago, but this was a whole new level of pain. Okay, so like I said, this is going to become a valley fold. This is our left side of our card. Just burnish that with your bone folder. Okay, then this one is going to come back like a mountain fold. Okay, so that is your portrait. It's going to go out like that. Okay, so that's the left side. Then your right side, where this tab is, this one I just did this as a valley fold. Okay, and that's just going to get attached. So it's going to get glued right there. Then this piece, this triangle, this has got to become a mountain fold. Okay, so we got our tab, which is going to go right here. And then this is going to come up, and then this is going to come up. And then sometimes, like once I get it together, you may need to kind of burnish it if your middle pieces aren't meeting. So let's go ahead and attach this. And I like to use the liquid glue on this tab just to make sure that it's really strong. So on the tab, so this is at, what was it, like 3/4? Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. Having it in that valley fold, bringing this back, you're going to put the glue on that top side. And then I just line this up so that my score line is right on the edge of that cardstock. So now you have that piece put together. Okay, so that's your right side. And then I just kind of bring this together, and it looks like I can bring this up just a little bit just to try and meet this. Just kind of force it into place. I'm just going to reburnish the bottom here. All right, so there is the portrait part. And then it goes into the landscape. And then you just have that one layer of cardstock in the center so you don't have all that bulk. Okay, so now this is our top. So now let's take our 3 5/8 inch square, and that's going to be attached right onto these triangle flaps. Yeah, I did this fold for some of my Halloween cards that they turned out pretty fun. Okay, so then this is just going to get layered. There. And then this one is going to go on the top. Okay, now these were our two pieces. Okay, so I'm going to take that top one, and that is now going to be on the front of the card. So we're just going to glue these down. Yeah, this paper is so pretty. I just like how it's got that little bit of gold accents and then just that watercolor kind of brushed leaves look. And then this is a fairly narrow border. If you wanted this, you know, to be a little bit wider, you can adjust your paper measurement. So I'm just kind of butting this right up against that score line so that I've got that little 1/8 of an inch border kind of showing on there. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing. So this is going to go on that, like I said, this is the front of the card. And then if you wanted to, I think on one of my, I think it might have been one of my Halloween cards, I did decorate these under flaps just because I had, you know, scratch paper that I was trying to use up. But again, that's going to add a little bit of bulk, you know, to your card. But you can decorate those backs of those flaps as well. if you wanted to. It'd be the same size as this one, so that 3 5/8 square. All right, so now that's the front. Now, when you open this up, now it's going to be that landscape. So now this was that bottom piece, but again, I wanted the opposite pattern so that this now, so this is our front. You know, we flip it over. The top part comes over to the left. This one you're going to rotate and it'll go on to the right on there. So again, if you wanted this leaf pattern showing, we would have had to, I don't know if this is going to work. No, it won't work because of the way I cut it. Then you would have done both, this leaf pattern would have been face down if you wanted that leaf on the inside. But I wanted this kind of more subtle, basic beige kind of background on mine. Because I was going to do a little, I think, some stamping or something on it. Ugh, super sticky. All right, and then this is going to go on the right. Oh, my goodness. Okay, and then our other one. There we go. And then now our center part. So again, this is going to be for the inside. And this is just going to cover up that flap. Actually, it's going this way. There we go. So my flap here is, I guess it doesn't really matter which way you do it, but I wanted, well, I guess I did because it's leaves. I want to make sure I was going the right way. So then this is going to then cover up, you know, that little flap of that cardstock. But what I was thinking about doing, so this was 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I was thinking about taking my, so I've already kind of die cut my leaves from the Gathering Moments. So again, on this die, so you get the die that just kind of cuts out the leaf itself. Okay. Then there's this one that does the holes. So you can die cut them together when you do it. And that's what I did on the gold one. So it's cutting out the leaf and then it's also putting in those holes. So you would just die cut those both together. And then again, the stitching, it takes forever, I'm not going to lie. So I wasn't going to do it on camera. So my cheater way of doing it is putting, you know, some colored cardstock behind here, you know, so that then that little, the brown does kind of show up. And then if you wanted to, you could take like a marker or something. Now this is that textured kind of gold foil. So I don't think, I don't know if the alcohol markers would, I may just leave it. I'm just gonna, I won't do any lines on it, but that's how you would do it if you're not doing your stitching that I did on some of these other ones. It was like bringing back my old 4-H days. I was like, oh my God, I'm sewing on a card. And I hate to sew. All right. But what I was thinking about on this inside piece, you know, so when I cut out my leaf, you know, I had this left over. So I was thinking about doing a mask and just kind of sponging. Just to get a little bit of kind of bringing in that leaf. Because I think when I put this together, my leaf is going to have to go. This is a fairly big one. So when you're doing this, you want to lay it so that when you open it up, it makes sense, you know, the way that this is positioned. So I think that's pretty good. So if I have the leaf going that way, and then if I do a coloring one, and I could just go this way. I'm just going to do some sponging. And I have to be a little bit careful because my piece of paper is bigger than my mask. Let's take some tape. Actually, we'll grab. Yeah, and then like I said, I reorganized my stamp room, and I was like, oh, this makes sense to go here. And oh my gosh, there's been so many times where I'm like, okay, where did I put that? I'm just going to use some low tack tape just so that I don't go over. All right, and then I think just to add a little bit of color, I am going to do, just trying to think, do I want to do the Cajun Craze? You know, it's going to be subtle. Because I'll do my saying in Cajun Craze. So I'm just going to do basic beige. And I'm grabbing, I just need to get a blender pen. Or not a blender pen, a blending brush. Okay, so I'm just going to take my basic beige. And then again, when you're using the blending brushes, you kind of want to tap off. And I've got like a little silicone mat here. And you're going to start off of the, kind of like on the mat and bring your brush to the paper. And in a circular motion. And I want to be careful because this little piece here, I don't want it moving on me. So I'm just going to kind of hold it down there. And again, I'm just kind of doing like a little bit of an outline. I'm not coloring it in completely. I just wanted like a little impression of a leaf here. So just another way of using up your scraps. You can use them as a mask. And you've cut out like a shape. There. I mean, it's very, very subtle. But it kind of gives you that little watermark look to it, which I thought was kind of a neat idea. So let's wipe this up so I don't get ink all over. All right, so then you can reuse that again. We'll set it aside. Okay, so then that will go in our inside. And I do need some birthday cards, so I am just keeping this one fairly simple. I'm just going to stamp my saying, happy birthday. I'm just going to do this in Cajun Craze. Yeah, I had quite a few fall birthdays. So, and then just put this right in the center. Sure it's all inked up. Ta-da! Okay. All right, so then that will go right on our inside center. And again, this was that two-tone cardstock, so it comes in 12 by 12. One side is a little bit lighter than the other. But it's just a nice alternative, you know, to help keep your cards not being so bulky. Because it's a little bit, you know, heavier than like the designer series paper, but not as thick as cardstock. It's just really a nice, I like it a lot. Okay, then, so now this is going to go here. I'm going to just glue these together. Because you all don't want to see me hand stitch this. It'll take forever. The hardest part is like threading the needle. Okay, and then this is just, this now I did do, it's just cardstock, early espresso. Okay, I'm just going to see if that, let me, I just got a scratch piece. I'm just going to, if I draw on it, no, it doesn't work. But I checked. Okay. I think you need a Sharpie, and I don't have a dark brown Sharpie, that color. Okay, so we'll just leave it as is. Then I have from the Outdoor Adventure, I've already kind of die cut. I've got the deer and I've got the little fox. I just love that little fox. I think he's so cute. So I had already die cut and kind of embossed some of these. I also had from the new Branching Out die set and stamp set. So this is still like the old style, but it's a new set that came out. This is in the Holiday Mini. And this one I kind of like because you can use it year round. It's not just a Christmas one. So I've got some of these little pieces. Got a couple of my foxes. Deer. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do on that. But I think, because this is already done, so we're going to, how did I have this? Going this way. No, I want it going the other. How did I have that? There we go. Yeah, that's what I want. So what's nice is you can have it overlap, because again, the card's going in, the mail this way. And then if I have my fox on here, and then I can just do like one of these or something behind. Oh, I thought I had more of those little pine cones, but oh well, I can always decorate that later. I think I will just do the brown behind it. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our leaf on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm just making a mark so that I know I can put glue on all of this except for that very top part. Because it kind of overlapped a little bit. I'm just kind of spot checking where my pencil line was. Just a little bit. Okay, so again, I didn't put any glue. I got a little bit up here showing, so let me just take my adhesive remover. There we go. Okay, so then that is all on there. And then it opens, ta-da, like so. So then we'll go ahead and place our fox, and I think on here what I'm going to do is we'll just put some of this on with the liquid glue, because I'm too lazy to die cut anything else out. Oh, sorry, Jeff is above me. We have got the squeakiest floors in this old house. He's like up above me. Okay. And something like that. Oh, that's our neighbor. She's picking up our little Wally that we dog sit for. So yeah, we've got, so I've got my Greyhound, Ezera, who's 13 and a half, and she's not in the stamp room much these days. She just has a hard time coming down the basement steps. So yeah, but Wally is a Chiweenie. So it's like having Stampin' with a Greyhound and a Chowini is what I should change it. Okay, and then this, I am going to just pop it up just because it's a little bit easier. I don't know if I can reach my dimensionals. And let's see here, we'll just have that, because I think when I open this, yep, that'll be perfect. So we'll just put a few little dimensionals on the wolf, or the fox, I mean. And he's been double layered, so he does have a little bit of stability on him. And then let's put a little fox right let's see, I want him. Let's see where my dimensionals are. There we go. And I'll just kind of tuck this so it doesn't catch anything. Okay. There's that cute little fox. And let's do a little bit of bling, I think. I'm going to use, these are the Cajun Craze gold dots. These are, gosh, I think, are they in the, they're either an online exclusive or they're in the mini. I can't remember. I can't keep track. Let's see here. I need my pick tool. Okay, so you want to think about when you're doing anything like on this bottom flap. Remember, when you go to open this, you're still going to see it. You know, it's going to be down here. So if you're going to be putting, you know, gems or some or like sayings, just be aware that you will need to make sure that it's going the right direction on there. So sometimes what I like to do is I actually keep it open this way, and then I'm like, okay, I know I need to go like kind of like right here, or else I'm going to keep it up on that top. I think if I put it, no, I don't think I want it down in that corner. So what we're going to do, it's going to come down. Let's do here. You kind of got it in that corner, and then let's put one up here at the top. We'll do one of these larger ones. Dun, da, da. Okay, then I think, because I've got one of these left over, I think we'll just put the deer in here. If I close this, I know the hardest part is the decorating. No, I don't like that. Okay, so we're just going to put our deer. We'll just do the one. He'll just go there. Okay. Yeah, I like that they came out with some more masculine sets, because I always struggle with making masculine cards, and I'm like, I don't, you know, the guys that I know, like, you know, they don't hunt or fish or, you know, do anything. So sometimes I'm like, oh, that doesn't really fit for what I need. But this one is kind of cool because it's, like I said, it's deer, it's a fox, it's just kind of your outside nature. Okay, so that is the twisted trifold, kind of using that gathering moments, gathering together, and then a little bit of the outdoor adventure. And like I said, I will do my best. I've got to get, I'll put my templates, I'll try and do my best to get like a template going. I'll put it in my Stampin' with the VIP Hounds. So this is kind of like, you know, the templates for doing your pattern paper, and then how I did, you know, the two sides, putting these together and stuff for my templates that I always kind of do. So I will make up some directions. I promise I'll do my best to get it done this week in there. And then I will work on, like I said, I wanted to do this other variation of it, and I think it's still called a twisted trifold, or it's something, but again, this one's going to be, it folds out. So it's a little bit different on it, but again, it's kind of it's a neat idea. So I'm going to work on a tutorial for that. But anyway, thanks again for watching. And so sorry for the, you know, long delay from doing a video. But like I said, I was out on medical leave and everything. So life just kind of got a little chaotic. But thanks again for watching. Have a great and creative day, and I will stamp again with you soon. Bye-bye.